This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we will call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. Before we move on, Mr. Grudem would like to say a few words.
Yes, as you all know, Dylan, our previous community development director, moved on, and we brought in Kurt Meister. He's another CETA employee. We've also got Joya here from CETA as well. And we'll just let Kurt tell us about himself.
Thanks for having me. My name is Kurt Meister, and I've got hired by CETA, well, a while ago when I was a teacher in Rochester for 23 years. I taught geography to juniors, and I finished out the school year and then was applied and went through an interview process and got placed in Zumbrota, which after a week, I'm very happy to be in Zumbrota. I'm a married man. My wife is Angie Swenson, and I have 3 kids. I have a son, Lincoln, who plays basketball at Duluth. My daughter, Lily, is currently at the University of Indiana. She plays basketball there. I'm 6'8", so I'm just tall. And I have a daughter who's going to be a sophomore at John Marshall, and I live on the north side of Rochester. Really enjoyed being in City Hall in Zumbrota. Really fun people to work with, and anxious to get going on what it is I do. It's been a whirlwind of, like we say, this acronyms. Buckets. We're slowly figuring them out. But
Did you teach at John Marshall?
What's that?
Did you teach at John Marshall?
I was there for 20 years.
Okay. You're welcome. Good luck.
Hey, thank you.
It's a great committee, so
Yeah, that'll be fun.
anybody here is a good resource. If you need anything, reach out.
Sure will, yeah.
Okay, now we'll call the meeting to order. Any additions or corrections to the agenda? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. Regular minutes from June 15th. Any comments, corrections?
My only comment is Lindsay's title's really long.
My title?
Oh, not, Miranda's title's really long.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It gets longer every month.
I know, I was like, right? I was like,
Tell me about it, Rich.
You want to add anything to your job description you spent to them?
Not since I got the big title.
All right.
I can't, there's no
I
room
really
for
like a
any
lot
more
of
words
things.
on the flag. No more room for that.
I'll make a
On the
motion to
nameplate.
approve the minutes from June 15th. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
abstain.
Opposed? Abstained?
Me.
Tina will abstain. And move on to accounts payable. Kurt, this is where you get to kick in if you're up to it. Normally, the EDA director goes through the accounts payable and gives us a short synopsis.
Kim was gonna do that for me today.
I came just for this, just to see you guys.
All right.
All right, there's nothing too exciting in your accounts payable. We did have 2 of our city invoices, which is the way the timing fell. We did have a professional services payment to staff, okay, I need to say that, and Hollister for one of the TIF districts, which went through. You reimburse the community trust for flower baskets. Next month, you will see a large expenditure because we took the money that we had set aside for festival, and that has been written out to the Lions Club, and they will be handling those monies for the festival. There was about $10,300 that went to the Lions Club. So you're gonna see that in your next accounts payable. They are moving forward. You also will see that next month, you'll be getting your admin payments from your TIF districts, as well as your abatement admins from the golf course, the vet clinic abatement, and the Chrysler Jeep abatement. And you will be having a loan payment from the vet clinic on your next one, because that was our tax monies come in July.
So will festival money be filtered through us moving forward? It's all just gonna be through them. Gone.
So they're taking over starting this fall?
Yeah.
Unless for some reason they needed to pay with a card, we said that we would,
Yeah, we can take.
for donations, we said that we would allow them.
But we can
use
funnel
card
it through us.
We're not anticipating a ton of those.
Or if somebody writes a check out to the wrong place.
The flower baskets, the 490, that's going to be an ongoing
I
expenditure.
believe so, when they come in the requests.
Right, so we're going to make sure that that's figured into next year's budget. That was passed a couple months ago, I think. Okay, any questions? Concerns? If not, is there a motion to approve the accounts payable?
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion's passed. All right, moving on to old business. The Tranquility Barn. I'm not sure. Brian, do you want to address this or?
Yeah, I can a little bit. We had some emails, and Kurt, you reviewed a couple of those emails from the Tranquility Barn. So as I understand it, the subcommittee that was put together had some criteria that they had to meet funding levels prior to us sending out the 15,000, I think is what was decided. We're still waiting for them to clarify a couple of things.
Yeah.
But they're well on their way. As you can see, inspections have passed, final appraisal from the bank. So I don't know, Kurt, if you have any more on that?
Well, there was just one of the owners sent me an email saying that she had a construction loan that was going to cover the rest, and we just wanted to know what that was. And it wasn't really, I haven't got an email from her since, and I posted the same thing to her that I posted to you guys right here. With the original estimation, they were still short some monies. And so once I hear back from her, I'll be sure to let everybody know. But I haven't heard from her yet.
So the amount of the loan is 15,000. The amount of interest has already been predetermined. The length of the loan, or is there, oh,
I think all of that was determined, yep.
so once you get your paperwork, everything is ready to go for them?
Yep.
There isn't anything further that we as a committee need to do?
Nope.
Okay. Anything else, Brian or Brian? Kurt? All right. New business, Blue Duck Restaurant.
So we met on the 17th of July with representatives from Blue Duck with the interest of putting a restaurant on the main street, West 3rd building on the basement. And the main part was to tell us they're interested, but we came to the amount of money they were looking for at the time. Dylan referred them to the SBDC, and we haven't heard anything from Blue Duck since then because they were looking for a pretty significant amount of money that EDA wouldn't cover by any means the whole thing. So it was just to kind of get an idea that they're looking to open a restaurant down there. And if you know where that spot is, I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty cool spot for a restaurant, but it involved bathrooms and renovations and the whole list of it. So just a heads up.
This is actually an action item, what we want to do, and Brian attended the meeting with us as part of EDA. I forgot to invite Rich, told him about it and then forgot to invite him. But, so they are doing their application now, finishing their application for EDA, the EDA application that Dylan had put together. They'd had some questions on that, and they have to put together their business plan and some of that other stuff yet. So they're working on that. They were gonna try to have it done by tonight. But we said, well, take your time, get it done. So tonight, we'd like to set a subcommittee similar to what we did with the Tranquility Barn. So we're ready in a week or so, we'll get all that information to review. We can get that subcommittee together, review that information, and come up with a proposal similar to what we did, a similar process as the Tranquility Barn. They are supposed to have done some research on alternative funding. We told them that EDA dollars are typically gap funding, so they have that awareness. I don't know if they were thinking that we're a little bit unsure what they're going to ask for or what they were expecting. So for now, we just request to set up a subcommittee. Could be the same subcommittee if they're all interested again. And then as soon as we get that paperwork, Kurt and I will reach out to the subcommittee, get together, look it over, look at the financials, the business plan, and what their need is, and then put together a proposal, hopefully for approval at the next EDA meeting. Because it sounds like, they've had an architect, they've had a design done, they've had a builder, they've got all their estimates. Going to be somewhere around $300,000. That includes furnishings, I think is what they said, to go in there. But they are looking for some help. And so anyway, that's where we're at with the Blue Duck. A lot of excitement about this restaurant. People have been asking all over town about it. Word's out. That's why we can put it in here now and broadcast it. They spend a lot of time in town out at the golf course, her and her husband. I think is her husband's from town, I believe.
Yep.
I can't remember what his name is, but they're from Mazeppa. Yep. So they're getting questions constantly about when are you coming? And so anyway.
Not Roxanne. Roxanne is leasing.
Right. Yep. Roxanne is leasing. Yep. And, there are some other things we can look at. Joya talked to me a little bit about a program that they do in Stewartville. Maybe you want to mention that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So we ran into a situation in Stewartville before where we were trying to figure out how to assist people specifically with rental. And we created a business incubation program. And that business incubation program allowed us to offer rental subsidy assistance with an existing space. It can be kind of challenging because when you start looking at like tax increment financing or tax abatement with a project that isn't necessarily increasing the tax base or, doing anything with new construction, the toolbox is more limited. So the program that we started, it required some education that we provided. It required the sharing of financials on a quarterly basis. But in return, the business was able to, get funding. So we did 50% for the first 6 months, 33% of the rent for the next 6 months, and the last 6 months we did 17%. So it's a decreasing scale to kind of get the business comfortable as they move through that first year and a half of doing business. And I did share with Brian and Kurt that I'm happy to get those guidelines over. Obviously, it's a public document, so I'll make sure to share that with you guys too to see if there's any pieces of that you can pull that could potentially be helpful in creating your own program if that's a direction that you wanted to go. And I do know Chris Gassner from CETA that I know you guys have all met before as well. Chris actually instructed the education for our classes, so I'm sure he'd be willing to help out with something if you guys wanted to do that as well.
You said that was specific to renters?
Correct. Yes. And the interesting thing about that program is that one of the things we found is that sometimes when people do rent, they can rent to themselves. So we didn't bar that. Like if there was somebody who had an LLC that they rented to themselves, I could see where you're going with it. We allowed them to utilize the program. Biggest caveat was that you had to get, you had to be a new business. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a startup, but it has to be new to the community. And we actually allowed in-home too. So people that were currently operating as in-home moving to a Main Street or commercial district business, we did allow that too. And it's a program that we actually found through Sioux Falls, South Dakota was running something similar. So we kind of talked with them a little bit more, got information, and then they told me that they actually took it from Arizona or something like that. So it's kind of been just moving all around the nation.
Must be a good program then, yeah?
Yeah.
People are copying it.
Yeah, I think it's good because it, you know, it holds people accountable. It helps you guys maintain a relationship by having that constant communication. And it's just another ability to provide assistance in a really transparent and helpful way.
I vote same committee.
Second that.
It's an official motion.
Okay, we have a motion to keep the same committee, and there's been a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's passed. A couple questions I have. Dollar amount, you know, we're looking at 15K for the Tranquility Barn. How does our dollars fluctuate here? Like is that what we're looking at for this group, or are they looking at a TIF or something, and so that there's, you know, substantial more amount of money that they borrow, or is that something that we need to get their stuff first and then decide?
Yeah, that'll come to light once we have all of their stuff. It'll become clear. You know, I think, I get the feeling they're open to any program that we could, you know, put together for them. Again, I have no idea the amount that they're gonna need yet. So once we know that, then we can maybe look at the best way to go with it.
Anything else anybody have on that, or questions? Thank you in advance, committee. We look forward to your recommendations next month. All right, new business, moving on. Eda.
Yeah, this is just a heads up. CEDA's hosting their regional development tour, and Zumbrota is going to be one of the 3 cities they're going to start in Zumbrota, and they're going to end in Zumbrota, and they're going to have their end of the tour get together at the covered bridge. So the good thing about it's going to be the tour is going to be bringing, correct me if I'm wrong, but possible business into Zumbrota to showcase the city.
Oh.
And in the way, before they do that, they're going to come in mid-August, and I'll get dates out when it gets in, to take pictures of the city and drone shots of the city that you can keep when you're done and then put on your website to just showcase the city to possible investors and businessmen of what Zumbrota is. So then you go to Zumbrota, Goodhue, and Lake City, and then come back to Zumbrota, and it showcases what you have. It's just a heads up. The date's right there, this is 28th.
She's actually put this program
Yeah.
together, so she can maybe speak a little bit more to it.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm getting a lot of airtime tonight.
You are?
So I actually started this probably about 6 years ago now. And the tour was kind of started under the premise of, one of the things we found is that you can put together some really great literature. You can have some awesome information on your community. But at the end of the day, bringing people in and having them experience your community is a vastly different thing. And I think it's impactful in a really different but important way. And so we tried it out. We started going through 3 to 4 communities each year, and we would bring people in. It's usually a good mix. What we found is what you don't want is all one industry, right? So we started getting real estate agents, we put developers, we bring in people from education sector, we bring in resource personnel, so people that, you know, run initiative foundations and different resource organizations, architects and engineering firms, anyone essentially that has like a vested interest in the development of the communities that we serve. And we get those people together on a bus so that they can talk, collaborate, build relationships. And I think that what we found is that having those people from those different backgrounds and different industry sectors that are all relevant to our development is good for the community. And we found that, you know, projects have come out of that. People are excited about the information. Kurt's going to be working to put together a ton of information on Zumbrota that will have a digital package that's given to each attendee. And, you know, he mentioned a video. The last 2 years, obviously, we were not able to put people on a bus, but we had so much energy around the tour that we wanted to continue it. So we started doing video tours. Well, the communities love the videos so much because they could take it back as a marketing piece that kind of lives in perpetuity. So it's not something that's just done once the tour is done. So it's nice they can put it on their website. So we wanted to continue that piece too. It might not be as long. A lot of those videos were longer just because you're having that be the tour. This will just be a supplement, but it's something you guys will be able to keep. I do hobby photography, so like Kurt said, we come, we take still shots for the videos, we do all the footage, and then we give it to a firm that puts it together into a nicely packaged, really professional looking video. So that's something we'll share with attendees on the tour as we're driving through. Rochester City Lines donates a bus for us to be able to do this. So they've been an awesome partner throughout that. We found that this is very well attended. People really enjoy the tour. I think they love learning about communities. Even if a developer is from Rochester, Zumbrota is not that far away, but we find is that they don't understand all the intricacies of the things that are going on in your community. So this is a good opportunity for them to learn a little bit more about you, get exposed to your city. And then the reception, I think, is a wonderful place for them to kind of get to talk to you more and build those relationships. So if any of you guys want to attend the reception too, you'll be able to do that. But I think that Kurt and Dylan are going to do an awesome job of getting those materials together and really represent the community very well.
And you can, what's the date on it? One says September 28th, one says September 18th.
The 28th is what they are booking for now. I believe we just confirmed that date with the covered bridge today.
Well, it sounds cool. It's looking forward to seeing and hearing how it goes.
Absolutely, and I'm sure that Kurt's going to keep you updated throughout the process over the next month or so. Like he said, there's going to be a lot of behind the scenes work that's going to be being done, putting together a route map for people, putting together the digital package. So he'll probably have a lot of updates for you.
Okay. All right, moving on to reports. This is usually where you fill us in on anything that's on the agenda that you feel we need to be informed on, but obviously,
Yeah.
Mr. Groot can do this.
Well, one thing we have is the 28th, the Busy Baby is having a small business seminar, like get together on July 28th, and I was going to set up an EDA booth up there.
Oh, that's the new warehouse?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we met with her my second day. And
So there or the
well, it's that building.
Greenstead, I thought it was.
No, well, I think both. They're doing like
Yeah,
a small
you're right.
business.
Yeah, because I got a card in the mail
Yep.
from Greenstead, so, okay, anyway.
And it's I spoke to the Busy Baby lady, whose name is Mrs. Busy Baby. Sorry. But she's very, very adamant about having small businesses meet, and so we'll set up a booth up there and for
Okay.
the city and EDA and offer what we have, information. And that's next Thursday, 4 to 7.
Should be interesting. Good. EDA, CETA, KB Apartments, anything you've got? Brian, anything you have on any of those?
You guys tour them?
Yeah, we did. It was nice. They're very nice. I mean, it was filthy, but they were still in construction. They hadn't started moving. The people are moving in now, right?
We actually met a couple today that had just recently moved in and they're brand new to town.
Oh.
Happy as can be that they found this. They moved from Apple Valley and they said they just couldn't be happier with.
Their location and amenities that they have in this nice small town of ours.
They couldn't believe that it was right downtown. They were tickled.
Looked like a college campus move-in day last Friday.
I did see some moving vans stacked up there.
They said, so they're a little bit older of a couple, but they said that there's a lot of like single college graduates that they've seen move in.
Oh, really?
So maybe it was a bit of a college.
Yeah.
Well, when we got done with the tour and I was walking back here, Al from Busby's he wanted to know if it was an open house or something, and he said that it's been just wonderful for his business, this apartment building. He said they've really gotten a lot of people that are moving in that have picked up stuff and bought things, and he said so he was ecstatic that it was going so well, which is good. I'm glad it's helping out locally.
Is there a slated date for completion?
No, not yet. They're still waiting for some pavement back there and landscaping. I don't know what they have left to do inside. But they, of course, got their temporary CO to be able to move in. I think on the 15th is when they started moving in. So I have not heard, and then that kicks in a bunch of things with that TIF, and, you know, we've got some things to pay for yet with the exterior. There was $198,000, I think, that the city was putting into this on that exterior stuff. We've spent some of that on a few things, sidewalks, and, yep, that was part of the whole deal. So we'll start getting those bills, and then there are some TIF requirements in there that I have to look at. And so there may be another Mary Taft bill in here at some point, because when we call her, then it's, you know, $750. But she did the TIF, she did all the paperwork. So if we have a question, if Kim and I have a question, we call, talk to them. So what's that?
Call her quick.
Just real quick, yeah, I think that might just be the standard if the phone rings number. So,
1 minute or 10?
You know, Brian, too, I've had people ask me if there's going to be any kind of an open house where the public can come, that they're curious to see what they're like, not the tour that we got, but.
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
I don't know.
I'll
if you can even
ask,
answer.
I'll ask Andy and Bob to see.
Today, I delivered some brochures. There's an office, and you just walk in. I'm sure that they would give you like if you wanted to see what they look like, I'm sure they'd give you a tour. Yeah,
Well, until they're filled up.
right.
Yeah, I just meant with who's ever gonna be there, but I think that they'll want to have kind of a ribbon cutting open, you know, they want,
Sure.
I would imagine they want some sort of, I don't think
It's
so.
a 19.
Yeah, so they had 19, but it seems like there's a bunch more rolling in now, so. I think that the material delays, you know, some people just couldn't wait any longer and went elsewhere. But I'm pretty confident they'll fill right back up, because one of the things that the people we talked to today mentioned, and I knew this would be the case, they said you can't even hear people walking around above you. They said, we've never been in an apartment building that you can't hear the people above you. And you could see that in the way they built the place.
Yeah, they said even with the construction, it's not disruptive to their daily life.
Yeah, they showed us that when we went through that one in Red Wing. How they, I don't know, with gypsum or something, they spray on the floor of it and the walls, and I was like, you know, they do a really good job.
Yeah.
Because they, you know, I think that's what they said too, is they don't want the turnover, because that costs them money and time and cleaning, and they want people to move in and stay there.
Sound transmission ratings required by code, and most builders just barely meet that. They just blew it away. They're so far above and beyond those required sound ratings that it's a quality building for sure.
Yeah, they seem like they do quality work.
Yeah, those people today got us really excited for people to be living there. They had nothing but good things to say.
About the building and the community, and
Yeah, it was
they're just
exciting.
loving
how
every second of
excited
it.
They were actually.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that you can reach out to Andy and see if they're planning an open house and, you know, a tour of one of them.
Just even if people got the message that if they were interested and wanted to go in there and see if they could go in, they don't have to necessarily go from 8 to 5 or something like that for one day, but, and of course, some people wouldn't have any hesitation about just walking in and asking. Other people wouldn't, but I think it would be advantageous because there has been interest. Okay, good. And you've already talked about the regional developer tour. Anything else from anyone? Questions? Concerns? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you. And welcome again, Kurt. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course.